things sometime could turn out to be very funny, but that's how it is. I assumed that you guys are able to see the presentation, but that was not the case. I guess there was some sort of an error with respect to the presentation, but never mind. It's good to connect back again with all of you guys, and this time I hope that you guys are able to see the presentation because the observations are just classic for the discussion today. So welcome back again, everyone, for the YouTube live, and I hope this time around that you guys are able to see the video as well as the screen share. Uh, I'll start off with the topic today. So today we'll be discussing the topic into two parts. What we have lined up. The first part, of course, is where we believe that the index is going to a zone where there are two indicators which are showing signs or signals of turnaround. There are 2 points which are highlighted by the market breadth indicator as well as the indicator which is more interesting and what we discussed yesterday. That's the India Vix. So today again we start off with the YouTube live. I hope this time around you guys can see the PPT. Can you guys see the presentation? Yes. Yeah, I hope this time around you guys can see the presentation. So fantastic. Thank you so much, Atin. Thank you so much for your patience, everyone. We'll start off with today's discussion and a very intriguing and interesting one because I thought, that today's topic could probably tell you that how discussions and analysis on the markets are a very linked process. We've been discussing over the last few days that, how the index could fall below the 23,000 mark, 22,800, and then 20,000, 22,000 are two important zones of major supports for the Nifty. We discussed India Vix yesterday. We discussed the market breadth indicator yesterday, and today we'll be discussing that how India Vix and market breadth today both combined are giving you a signal of sort, and that should probably hopefully encourage all of you guys to try and visualize the bigger picture of the market trend. So before we start, a request to everyone, a request yet again that do like and share the video. And if you guys have any comment, please do put it on the chat box. Deepak, Kukreja, Atin, Chandru, thank you so much. And Deepak, all of you guys have any queries, please you can write it on the chat box. We'll start off with today's session for technical tea with Kunal Bothra and the discussion on two important parts, which is India Vix as well as the market breadth. So the first chart, what we see first is that what is the pattern for the FII selling, because that's the dominant factor playing in the market right now. And we're seeing as a pattern that the selling which was earlier. So last week we were discussing that how the pattern is that from 10:30 to 11:30 there is a selling from the FI. 9:30 to 10:30 there is a selling from the FIIs, and then just about that around 1 o'clock there is the second round of selling which happens from the FIIs. The patterns have changed because now the markets are a bit lighter in terms of positionings or in terms of the quantum of positions. And that's why you're seeing the selling in the last 2 days having a different pattern altogether. So around 11 o'clock, so around 10:30, 10:45 is where the first round of selling starts off. And then you see the index, in this case, the bank Nifty falling off almost 400 points. This was yesterday's chart where you saw the bank Nifty falling up suddenly intraday after a decent gap up opening and then moving up higher in the first half an hour, first 1 hour. Today also very similar, where from 49,350, just around that 10:30, 10:45 time, the index fell by almost 250, 300 points, and we were almost on the verge of 49,000 levels on the bank Nifty intraday. So this is again a sign or a signal that how you should try and maneuver, okay, or trade when there is a sudden bout of selling. Because बहुत बार क्या होता है जब sudden round of selling आ जाती है ना, तो short-term traders, they panic a lot. They believe that history is going to repeat itself, and then you'll see the same pattern. So हम कहते हैं ना कि the fear of loss is much bigger than an actual loss. So when you see such kind of a sharp correction, even if your portfolio is positive, you'll start unwinding your portfolio because then there is a fear of loss that your portfolio will convert or turn into red, and that leads to unwinding of positions or closing of positions prematurely. So you should always be in a more calm manner, and you should try and see how the patterns shape up on a daily basis. The second pattern is also very interesting. This is the trends from the FII shorts with respect to the Nifty trend. So I did mention this on Twitter today in the early morning because I felt that this is a very very interesting pattern and something which you guys should take note of. That why is why you're seeing the Nifty suddenly stabilizing at this 23,000 mark. What has changed for the index? Nothing has changed, right, in terms of the external data point, except for some bit of correction which has come into the US markets and maybe a retracement into the dollar index from 110 to now 107, 108. We're not seeing any major data points where we sense that the for example, like the earnings have not yet come out fully. So it's not as if that the markets are going into a sudden reversal of stance as such. But then the data on the FNO side indicates that there has been constant unwinding of short positions from the FII. That constant unwinding of short positions generally gives you a degree of comfort, and that degree of comfort leads the index to form a bottom very quickly. So for example, we saw the index, the FI short positions to be on the peak side in the last 10 odd days, to be around 4.5 lakh contracts, as you can see over here. Then from here started a zone where the FII started to unwind their short positions. तो आप देख रहे हो जैसे जैसे मार्केट्स में शॉर्ट पोजीशंस अनवाइंड हो रही है एफआईआईस की, द इंडेक्स इज फॉर्मिंग अ बॉटम. सो इवन इफ यू tested the previous low, we made a new low of 23,000, we made a low of 23,025, we made a new low of 22,829, but this was on the back of lower shorting, lower short positions. When that happens, the index forms a floor or a bottom. तो ये जो जोन होता है ना, यहाँ पे पैनिक आता है सडनली. फॉर एग्जांपल लास्ट सेलिंग जो होती है वो होती है कैपिचुलेशन, वो होती है पैनिक सेलिंग, एंड दैट पैनिक सेलिंग जनरली हैपेंस ऑन लोअर वॉल्यूम्स and the index goes into a V-shaped recovery. So far, you can say that the recovery has only been 300 to 400 points, but fair enough that the recovery has been more stable and much more spread across into the overall market breadth. The second stance as a second indicator, which I think we discussed this extensively last week also, the cumulative market breadth indicator or the market breadth indicator, which indicates that the Nifty forms a divergence. Now, the brown line which you can see is the sign where the Nifty makes a new low, but the indicator apparently makes a higher low. So as you can see, I'm moving the cursor or the mouse around those data points where the cumulative market breadth, the market breadth indicator forms a higher low, and the Nifty makes a lower low. Whenever that has happened, the Nifty is led into a process of a decent bounce. Now again, this was in 2024, 23, 24, where the Nifty made a new low, the market breadth indicator made a higher low, and that led to the Nifty going through a process of a bounce. Now you see the data points over here. In fact, okay, in the month of November also we saw similar data point. The market breadth indicator makes a new low, then Nifty also forms a new low, but the market breadth indicator this time makes a higher low. That leads to a substantial 1,000 plus point recovery for the Nifty. We are at a similar stance over here. So as you can see that the market breadth indicator has formed a higher low, but the Nifty is formed a lower low. So as you see, history repeats itself, may not be in a same manner or a similar manner, but it definitely rhymes. And you see those patterns emerging very, very strongly. So you look at RSI divergence. I also look at the market breadth divergence, that when the index is forming new low, what are the degree of stocks and how the market breadth generally behaves. Is it better or is it worse than the previous lows? So that gives you a hang of where the market positioning is and what the index trend could be going forward. So this clearly indicates that the markets are in the process of a decent bounce back mode. Then comes the third point. Okay, I thought I'll probably give a mystery chart. Then comes the third point, which is positioning on India Vix. Now I thought I'll look at the India Vix chart and how the India Vix over the shorter term time frame is indicating that maybe, just maybe, we could be at a point where the markets could probably see some bit of bounce back for itself. So I'll share the screen with you so that you can see the charts in front of you. Yep, there it is. Okay, of India Vix, correct? As you guys can see, I have marked the lines when the India VIX had crossed the levels of 18. Okay, now this was the time when the budget happened, or the recent high rather in the month of November, when the India VIX had crossed 18 intraday and then fallen lower from that. What happened on the index on that day? But the one which is closer to the budget, and this is very interesting. This is the last time where we had seen the India VIX crossing levels of 18 just one day or 2 days prior to the budget. आप देख लो 30th of January 2023 से लेकर इंडिया विक्स ने गिरना चालू कर दिया था यहाँ पर. सो आज भी आप देख रहे हो इंडिया विक्स का ट्रेंड ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर है. From 29 30th of January, we are now starting to recede on the India VIX. Correct? Now let's look at the index trends, the Nifty trend, what happened at that point of time. 23rd of Jan 2023, where this was the movement for the Nifty. This is the time where the India VIX had fallen from that 18 levels, reversing downside. So if you guys can see, the Nifty forms a base, and from a base, if you calculate from the low, for example, this was the low 17,400. Mota in the next 2 weeks, the Nifty climbed up to 18,150 mark, which means it was a decent 700 to 750 points rally, almost 4 to 5%, 4% to 5% on the Nifty at that point of time from the lows. If you remember yesterday's YouTube live, we discussed that there should be at least 3.5 to 4% whenever India VIX reverses from 18. So if you guys who are joining new today on the YouTube live, I would request and urge that go through yesterday's YouTube live. That's on 29th of January. You will get a detailed analysis of what happens when India VIX reverses from 18. Okay, and how index is poised for a 3 to 4% up move on an average. And it's happened not just once, multiple times in the last many years, that whenever India VIX on a minor event like a budget or RBI policy or such, whenever it reverses, what happens to the index trend? So again over here, this indicates that the market slowly and gradually moves up higher. Now this is the budget day volatility. Yeah? So budget day, of course, we made a new intraday swing low, but then net closing basis पे हम देखें तो major market action negative नहीं था. Okay, so we look at it from the low which was made prior to the India VIX hitting that 18 levels in the next 2 weeks, where the markets move up higher. So gives you a very classical sense that maybe this time around the history could repeat itself, and we should come back to at least this zone, 23,600 mark. So as you can see, this is the zone where the super trend indicator is also indicating that maybe this could be the first level of resistance. तो 22,800 से 4% अगर हम ऐड करते हैं तो करीबन 800 पॉइंट हो जाता है मोटा मोटा. तो दैट adds up to 23,600 mark thereabouts. We were discussing yesterday that 23,500, 600 could be a zone where the India VIX indicator, once it reverses from 18, the Nifty should rally towards. So FII short positions unwinding, the India VIX moving from 18 to now hopefully gradually steadily heading lower. And then the third part, which is the market breadth indicator, signaling the first sign of divergence. All three data points put together gives you a classical sense that the markets are building a base, building a near-term bottom. So budget volatility, I don't know what could happen, whether the markets will fall intraday basis or whether the markets will rise. But one thing is certain, that the surrounding data points for the markets are becoming better by the day. Now, we just hope and pray that the budget doesn't disappoint us in a significant manner. And if that happens, the budget doesn't disappoint, then we could be in for a slight bit of more stability in the markets. And I think stability is a much better word rather than a V-shaped rally, because after such kind of a carnage and a sell-off, all we require is slight bit of stability in the markets. Now, there was one interesting observation which I thought I'll probably ask you guys, a mystery stock. Now, if you guys can tell me what is this stock, which stock is this, and which chart is this, so you can write it on the comment box of what this interesting and impressive chart is. Now, there is one thing which is very common over here, that this stock fell for 17 consecutive candles. In this case, candles over here. 17 consecutive candles. It comes back to that major trend line bottom. As you can see, major trend line bottom. Whenever that happens, the stock goes into a turnaround mode. And you can see that the turnaround is huge. It's massive. Now, if you guys are Fibonacci lovers, then you can probably do some bit of Fibonacci analysis over here and then tell me that what the targets would be for the stock in the next 1 to 1.5 year. The patterns are almost congruent. मतलब आप समझो एकदम similar patterns है, time wise, price wise, pattern wise. 16 से 17 कैंडल के आसपास में एक selling आता है, and then whenever the selling reverses itself, the stock goes into a 16 to 17 candles of a new wave on the uptrend. So I want every one of you, if you could identify this chart, then do mention it on the comment box, because in the next session of YouTube Live, we'll be discussing the name of this chart. So I'm sure you don't want to miss that. Okay, but I want all of you guys to comment it on the chat box and mention what is this chart, which stock is this, and which sector it comes out from, and where do you believe that the stock would be heading towards, hopefully in the next 16 to 17 candles. And you would be amazed once you see the kind of observation and the analysis what we've portrayed into the charts in our next or upcoming session for YouTube Live. So you don't want to miss that. If you guys have any comment, we can take that, queries. But before we do, I would urge everyone that if you liked it, if you like the content, and if you keep, and if you want, that we go into a free flowing mode on a daily basis, do subscribe to the channel and do share the videos to all your friends, family, relatives, and your known associates. So thank you so much. That's it from my side. But if you guys have any queries, we can probably take that in the next couple. Okay. So Vinod Bhivani is already asked that whether it's BHEL. It is not BHEL. Go deep into your charts. This will require you to study the charts deep. I can try and give you a hint, but that hint will give you the chart completely. So I want to keep that mystery chart till the next YouTube live session. So I thought that maybe, just maybe, go into the detail. A bigger hint is, of course, it's a part of NSE. It's not a BSE stock. It's not just a BSE stock. It's a part of NSE. I can't give you any bigger hint than that. Okay, Vinod. Atin Agarwal is asking view on Salasar, SCPC, HCC. Yes, many of these stocks have corrected. Small caps and mid caps, they have gone through a sharp correction. Bullish on all three of the names, but maybe not a best time for you to start averaging as of now. Let the market settle, let the dust settle into maybe in the mid of February, if the two policies, the budget as well as the RBI policy, once both of them are over, maybe post that we can discuss whether you need to average these stocks or not. Jupiter Wagon. I think the railway stock have gone through a bit of a sharp correction. IRFC today, I think, started to show signs of reversal. But the analysis which is there on the budget day, we did a budget day analysis. Tomorrow we'll be doing the budget day analysis, that which stocks you have to be careful about. Railways stocks falls in that category where you have to be a bit careful on the budget day, because these stocks, they go up higher in an expectation that something big could be announced. But over the last 2-3 budgets, we've seen some different kind of a price action for these railway stocks. So just be a bit careful over there. Can we average Tata Tech? Not as of now. Maybe wait out for the stock to break above that 825, 850 barrier. Once it crosses 850 levels, I would believe that a new wave of uptrend could begin for this stock. Geo Finance, it's tough to say, because I don't know, something's changed into the stock price, why it's gone through a very sharp selling. But I believe again for Geo Finance, closer to 260 to 65 is the first level of a major resistance. So it's always better to buy it on confirmation rather than on anticipation. Let the stock cross to 65 levels. Only then I would suggest you to buy or average further. Motilal Oswal Financial Services. I think the stock is placed very well. I was looking at the charts. It's almost like a 30% correction, 30-35% correction in the last 3-4 months for Motilal Oswal Financial Services. I believe that it's a very good level where one should look to start nibbling into the stock at least. Apar, Rajashri Dhar, Apar Industries. I have actually not seen the chart. Let me just quickly, go through the chart for Apar Industries. Oh, a very sharp sell-off from 11,800 to 7,000 levels. The stock has fallen very sharply this month itself. But, typically what would happen, Rajashri, is that after this 40% correction, the stock would immediately give a 10 to 15% relief rally bounce. But then the real bottom generally happens after the second test of the previous low. So 6,800 was the recent low. So approximately 6,800 should be tested. If the intensity of volume is sharp, then it may be broken on the downside. But agar volumes are lacking, then you may probably expect that the stock may bottom out pretty quickly. So just be a bit wary and look at the volume pattern. So maybe we can discuss over the next few sessions as and how the stock chart pattern develops for Apar. Okay. Yeah. Chandrahas Nayak said, will we be having this live chat on a daily basis? The time I'll keep it post 5 p.m. Approximately, because that's the best time to have tea, and that's the best time because I think it's gives almost 1.5 hour of cooling time post the market closing. So that should be decent enough because we wait for the data points, we wait for the data, the bhav copies, etc. to come out from the NSE. But yeah, I think if you share your love, you share the videos, then of course we'll be having this session very, very regularly. And why not? We can always have this YouTube session, live session during live market hours also sometime, right? I hope you guys would love to have that also and would love to have some intraday trades also from my side. So why not? We can always have that kind of a positive surprise also going. So that's it. I think I've managed to answer all your queries. Do connect with us for tomorrow's session. But most importantly, I want all of you guys to answer the mystery chart. So do your study, look at the charts, look at which stock for the last 17 candles. Now it could be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly candles. You guys have to do your homework there. But I've given you the chart. You can just look at the video once again. Go through the chart. Tell me which stock is it, because in the upcoming sessions for YouTube Live, we'll be discussing this mystery chart. So you don't want to miss that, because in the previous sessions or the previous times when the stock had given a low or bottom formation, the stock went berserk. Okay, so learn with Anahita. Anahita says Anantraj. No, Anahita, it is not Anantraj. You would be in for a big surprise once you see the charts and the name of the stock. So that's it from my side, guys. I hope I could, provide you with a very stronger degree of content and the analysis on a regular basis. We keep having this kind of a discussion so that we can put in some interesting bit of analysis and add all the bits. So I would encourage all of you to watch the YouTube Live daily, because everything what we discussed today, some bit of it is a carry forward of what we were discussing yesterday. So like what we discussed on the India Vix yesterday, then the market breadth indicator in the previous session. So I would encourage all of you to watch this on a regular basis whenever you are free, whether it's live, if possible live, then if not, then in the evening time, whenever you guys are free. Thank you so much for your time. God bless. Have a wonderful session tomorrow, because day after tomorrow, we all don't know what's going to happen and what's going to come out in the budget. So with that expectation that hopefully we may form a bottom and the budget would be good enough. Adios. Bye-bye.